A beautiful morning to you, or afternoon, wherever you may be, and welcome to my craft room. Today I'm going to focus on these two tiny bee images, and that's why I bought these little transitions to go in my tutorials. You know how I love to add little add-ins. So I decided to have the focus on the bees. Now, the size of the card is 5.5 by 7, and it's a triple flip card. 2 card-based flips and 1 acetate flip. I'm going to try and keep as much of it slowed down for you as possible. Now, I want to add this purple tissue paper that came in Alexandra's June kit for the Help for a Cure stamp set and sentiment set. And you know I love to do any projects with tissue paper, so I set them aside, and I didn't know I was going to focus on the bees in particular, and purple is not one of my main colors that I use. I do like purple, but I don't love purple, and it seems like every other card I'm making is purple, right? So I took this card, I made my own card base, as I normally do, because it's 5.5 by 7. I'm completely covering the back. I did not want to use any liquids to get all messy because I knew this card was going to be long. So what I did is I entirely covered the back with double-sided tape. I crinkled up the tissue, and then I put it down lightly so that all of the crinkles will settle in different spots. I cut around it, and then I press it down. That makes a big difference when you're adding the tissue to card, double-sided tape to the card, because you don't have no movability. This is Lala Lavender. This would work with any color tissue. I just happen to like the purple. If I had have thought this out more ahead of time, I probably would have used yellow. But I did incorporate the bee, so to speak, B-E-E, colored yellow mustard colored mix to the card because I wanted to make the theme with the two little bees. I think they stick out wonderfully. It's from the Stamp and Cut Blooming Bug set over on LDRS Creative, and that's what I'm creating for today as a design team project. And I know it's super long, but a lot of my viewers like the long videos, and you get to just move forward and watch it a little bit at a time, right? So flowers go with bees, right? And that's what I'm putting in here for a break. And then we're going to move forward to heat set this clear LDRS Creative embossing powder. I really like it because it's a fine grade embossing powder. I think you will love it too. Now, chunky or fine will give you the same results when you're working with distressing and crinkling up this tissue paper, right? You just want it to settle wherever it settles, and then heat set it, and you get this amazing look to the cardstock without having to use liquid. Like, let's say you want to use your glue or whatever you have that you put tissue paper down. This way it keeps your workspace without having to clean it all the time because there's no liquid involved. And you get the same look using double-sided tape. Just make sure you cover the whole back. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? I love it. And this base, like I said, is 5.5 by 7. Now, remember I showed you in the last tutorial how I used the Yupo paper and some alcohol inks to get this look. I cut it out of the Blooming Bug Stamp and Cut set, and I also used the Creative Cutting Edge Borders 1 die in this, and I love that wildflower bloom. I also cut out a white bloom flower for behind it. Had no idea where I was going yet. And that's how I generally work. I start with, save everything. Yeah, set it aside because you never know if you're going to need a little heart or a little piece to fill in or whatever. But on we go. I use the Peekaboo Lovelet die, and it's a full die. This would work beautiful in an A2 size card, just as a card front, wouldn't it? And like I said, I had to use up some of the white card space, and I had that extra. This is my 140-pound paper, and I had some extra, so I used it to put on the top and the bottom. Now, why, you say, Carol, did you do that? Because my lines weren't straight. When I cut out the extra edging to get this to fit, right? Because it, you get to cut it out yourself with whatever size border you want around this beautiful die. So, and you not only get that beautiful die cut, you also get some additions like a stamp, a double heart, cutesy wootsy little sets. I'm going to leave the link on my blog as I usually do, and you can check it out. But this is a wonderful addition to an inside of a card as well. If you're just looking to create something to add the sentiment for an inside of a card, this beautiful peekaboo die is, I think, is it. So I took the ink and I went over it with that La La Lavender LDRS Creative Hybrid. Let me say hybrid again, because it gives you some time to emboss. So here we go. I'm going to, excuse me. Oh, this is a long video. He had to come in at the start, right? And I just went ink to paper. I took out my hybrid inks and I went across it. I love the mustard color yellow. I'll leave all the colors that I did use to create this. And you can see that you get this mixed media feel, this shabby chic look by just doing ink to paper. So I'm going to stamp the stamps out of this cute little set, PD165, but you know I'll have the link. You just press it and you're going to go right over to be able to order it. The prices are exceptional and the clearance sales are astronomically priced, so that there's no stress on our wallets when you go over to LDRS Creative to purchase some of these items. So now I'm going to do the same thing. You notice that I stamped it down with clear embossing powder, and it is LDRS Creative, has the clear and the white. So I stamped it down, with the white embossing powder, and then I just heat set it. Took a baby wipe, wiped the top of it off, because this is the beauty of having die cuts, that you can go over it, and if it's too white for you when you do this, just take a marker or pencil and color it in, and then you get that look. But for now, I was going for the, kind of a light tone, because I was going to use quite a bit of background white, kind of like this ghost ink effect throughout this card creation here. So I just moved along, cut these out, set them aside, and then I'll focus on, you can tell here, I'm not quite sure yet how this card is going to work. Now, the exciting thing about this card, I wanted to incorporate the acetate, but I wanted to cut off the front panel so that it was a third of the cut on the top, and then cut out a quarter of the cut on the bottom. You'll see that, so that you can see through, see the heart on that peekaboo die, the heart peekaboo die, and then it's going to add, I'm going to add magnets to the acetate so that they clip together, and you're going to have a flip down, and you're also going to have a flip up. And yeah, I know, doesn't it sound crazy? But that's how my mind was working when I was creating this, and I wanted to show you how you could do this. You could add not only a flower, but balloons for a birthday card. You could add so many stamps and cut them out with your dies to apply this technique that I'm showing you. And I haven't seen this technique anywhere. I just, it's just one of those things. There is the cutting edge border 1 that I cut out. And then I obviously did an edit and took some of it out. I wanted to show you the beautiful color when you go over the die cut that you can create. Now on this one, I used a 6x6 paper pack from LDRS Creative. So that it looks like I did an ink to paper, but I didn't. Because I'm looking at it saying, you couldn't have got that, Carol, with just one ink. No, I didn't. It's a 6x6 paper pack. Wonderfully thick and beautiful colors. So you couldn't get anything better to match that purple tissue. So what I want you to see here, if I zone in on this, see how I have glue dots down the two sides? I don't know if you can see that. I tried to incorporate it into the video edit, but I don't know, for some reason I didn't concentrate on that. But I put the glue dots down, so when I applied the tissue, it would bump up the round circles, the glue dots, and add some dimension. I didn't put it on the top or the bottom, just on the two sides, because I want to cover up the white cardstock. Now, I added, over top of the glue dots, I added double-sided tape, so that this is going to stick down beautifully. Doesn't matter if you have a full piece, just keep adding, and you're going to get that look, and you're going to get these round bumps that when you look at it, you're wondering, how did those round circles of dimension get on this card? I'll tell you how they got there. By using glue dots. Any style glue dots, any size glue dots work. And I like the dimension. I like the look of vintage shabby chic look to this. And I like that it's different, right? So I just added some narrow strip on the bottom and thicker strip over the glue dots on each side. And we're going to get the same effect as the front of the card, and I'm still just creating. I had to make it straight, so you can tell the strips over the top and the bottom makes my die cut nice and straight, and that's all you have to do. If I was to put a title on this, I would say how to clean up all your mistakes, because there was a lot of crooked cutting, and things I had to be creative to cover it up. And that's what we do. And when the person gets the card, they don't notice all that, you know. It's something we get to do. And that's a challenge in itself. Now, I lightly went over the entire thing. I wasn't going to go over the entire thing, but a little bit of the ink got in the middle. And I thought, you know what, I don't like all white cardstock in there. So there you go. I'm pouncing that La La Lavender down. I'm giving it some real pressure on the side so those round glue dots stand up, and it gives me some light to dark contrast on the actual die cut itself with the hearts. And it's so intricate and pretty, isn't it? Like, I really do like this one cut die. Now, I went to my inks, the LDRS Creative Hybrid ink, and I got out this wonderful reminds me of honey for some reason. It's not a bright yellow like a lemon yellow. It is that vintage style, I don't know. It's a beautiful color, honey color. And I put it on here as well because when you see the die cuts from the Yupo alcohol ink patterns that I cut out, all these colors are incorporated into that as well. So I set a piece to the side, and I used it as a example for me to get the right colors when I was picking out the inks. And here I'm just going to go over it, add pressure where I needed to, and make it look like the piece of Yupo paper that I alcohol inked and cut the border dies from. So before I move on to cut the front portion that you can see is already flipped up. So you're going to create whatever size card you want, and then I get my score tool and I score it twice to have a little gusset. One line or two lines over, it doesn't matter. I think I did 2 on this. Folded it over, and then I'm going to do my cuts. Remember I said I want a third down and then a quarter piece up so that the acetate, which will be a full size, 5.5 by 7, be full size of the card. But yeah, I already cut a section off the bottom there, but that isn't going to matter. Actually, it was an asset when I did this because I'm putting the acetate. Oh, it was an asset, like acetate. That's pretty cool that I came up with that unexpectedly. Yeah, I'm tired already from the edit, you can tell, right? Trying to, yeah, explain this. So I had that little wee indent there, that line, so I just covered up with the ink dauber thing I had, and then I cut this off. Now, I want more of the inside panel to show. So, and you can see how well these colors mold themselves together from that Yupo acetate piece of paper. And you know, I could only add so much in this edit, otherwise it was really going to be super duper long, longer than it is. So I left it out because I did show you this paper in a video. I think it was the ice cream card that I did. But anyway, I'll leave that in the link. So I'm trying to design. Yes, I'm trying to think, okay, where am I going to go from here? So I took that Cutting Edge Borders 1 die. Love these dies. Number one, they're Teflon coated. So I'm going to tell you something. When I cut this piece off, which is the quarter panel on the bottom, it's the piece that's not attached to the card base. When you cut this with that die, the Cutting Edge Borders one, if you don't add a lot of pressure, all you will get out are the scallops, the centers of the scallops. But if you put a shim in there and you press it down with some force, it'll come out. Now, be reminded, this card is a 140-pound cardstock. It has double-sided tape, and it has all of that embossing powder with the tissue paper. So this die is going to go through. I didn't know whether I wanted to just see the outside scallop dots or I wanted a full cut. And I chose to put a shim in and do a full cut on the top and the bottom. And another thing I'm going to do here while I'm playing around cutting this out is I wanted to cut at least 6 pieces of white cardstock with that center scallop. What I like about it is you have to cut the edges off to get it off the page. So you can work with it as a border for an envelope where it doesn't cut off. You can work with it. Oh, I thought of so many ideas to leave it in the 8.5 by 11 cardstock and then cut on the edges and keep it in the cardstock. But I chose to make them separate. So I had these scallops, and mostly it worked out well for me for cleanup. It's impossible, may I say that again? Impossible to keep my white cardstock clean. That's probably why I don't do clean and simple cards, because yeah, it just pushes me over the edge when you're trying to keep this beautiful card like clean, and then you keep adding and adding and adding cardstock over it, and then you have a 50-pound card, you know, which is great for me because I love heavy pound cardstock, so that doesn't bother me. But here I thought, okay, I'm still in creative mode. I'm still there. See how I snipped that out the bottom? That's what's wonderful. You can move it up and leave it in the cardstock and then just go over it with ink. A lot of different things you could do. So I'm still wondering, okay, what am I going to do? I want that, without even taking a breath, I want that scallop, that round edge on the top. I'm going to use that to cover up my cardstock that got ink on it. And yeah, it works out well. It works out well when you're doing more of a vintage style card to cover it again. And then if you know you're going to have to cover it, like I did, I used a lighter poundage on the paper. I think it was just 110-pound paper that I used to make these scalloped edges because I knew I wanted them to be more flush to the actual cardstock base. Then you can trim it how thick you want to have it. And then we're going to set them all aside. You can ink them up, make them different colors, but I did want to have some actual white. And you can see here, see this bottom piece, this is where I took the scallop out of the tissue that I'm going to add back to the flip of the card. And then I just took my long Tim Holtz scissors. I didn't use my cutter, my trimmer, because I really didn't need to. It was a really good, I already did that the first time, so it was a good clean cut. I added 2 lines. I am with the tool there, with my stylus, and I added 2 so that I could have a nice thick gusset to go over and hold that little piece on that we're working with, right? It has to attach itself. Then I cut a piece of 5.5 by 7-inch acetate, because this is going to be my flip down portion on the inside of this. So let's recap here. I have that, I have a gusset on there, I have the fold, I have to fold it over like this. You can see that little gusset I have there. It's 2 lines over on my board. Isn't that funny how you lose the track of what the name of it is on my tool? On my Martha Stewart, I like to say embossing tool. What am I doing here? It is my scoreboard. I had to stop the video and put my mind in focus. It's my scoreboard, of course. Yeah, so I'm scoring it again because it's super thick and I want to have that nice fold in it. I'm going through quite a bit here, so I'll just keep pressing it down there and working it, working it. Then we're going to move on. It's so pretty. And to add the acetate, I'm just going to turn it over and take one of those scallops that you're looking at that I made about 6 of them, because you can always put it away in your stash. I'm going to obviously have to cover the back of this card. Look at the mess of that. Yes. When I'm using the glass mat, the Tim Holtz glass mat, it's hard to see that you haven't cleaned it properly. Sometimes I think I went over it with a baby wipe, and I didn't. Obviously, it's on my card base. So I had this roll. I think I used the 5-inch because I have a little 1/2 inch, because it's 5.5 inches wide by 7 inches in length. And then I added another piece, so I have the full back of this, and then I'll add a nice clean white piece. I don't know why right now I chose to put the clean cardstock on, and I didn't wait until towards the end of creating the card, because yeah, but this is what I did. Get rid of everything there, Carol. Move it all over. And yeah, I'm marking it because I'm thinking to myself, okay, I can't cut alongside this. So I will just measure it with my pencil and then I'll cut it out. There we go. And it works out pretty good, actually. Covers that inky back of my cardstock. And then we can move forward, because I still haven't decided that it's going to be a triple flip. I thought it was just going to be this double where you fold it down. I use my little ladybugs or bees. What am I talking about? They're ladybug bees. All of a sudden it hit me right here at 24 minutes into my video that I was under the illusion that I was working with bees, and I bought all of these bee transitions to put in this tutorial, and I'm going on and on here with the video. I looked down at the Stampin' Cut Blooming Bugs and looked at it, and it's not bees, it's ladybugs. I had to stop what I was doing in the edit. I mean, I'm real, folks. This is what, I spent a couple of hours scouring to get the right little bee images that I put at the beginning of my tutorial. I wasn't taking that out, but I have all kinds of these bees doing certain little funny characters character bees doing, you know, walking, waving, running, da 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 da. And then I realized right here that I'm not working with bees, I'm working with ladybugs. Oh, my shattered nerves. Ah, anywho, yeah, so forget the bees, we're going on to ladybugs. If I have time, I will go and find me a ladybug transition. And if you don't see any in there, you'll know I didn't find any. I'll have to do a bee card now to use those transitions. How funny is that? That tells you how tired I must have been, right? Here quickly, while I'm getting over my bees, I don't know my bees from my ladybugs, I set the corner edge down on here because this is going to flip down. I cut it to fit, and it's going to be, yes, right there, and I'm going to take it over to my cutter and make a nice clean cut on it. And the way I'm going to hold it down on that quarter panel, I'll call it a quarter panel if I'm dealing with the bottom of the card. How I'm going to do that is I'm going to use double-sided tape and glue to glue it down to that edge, to that 1/4 inch scalloped edge. So let's cut it down, and then I have to figure out what I'm going to use for securing it down with magnets. I had my magnets out, and I was determined I'm going to use my magnets. Oh my. I can't get over that I did this card thinking that I was using bees. And it must have been because of the mustard colors I was using there. That, I mean, hello, I took a couple hours just to cut them out because you only have the two bee, see what I'm saying? The two ladybug images, and then you have to use your 2 dies and cut, you know, I needed about 25 of them. So I did stare at ladybugs for quite a while, and then I searched for a transition of a bee. Oh, my. To be or not to be? That is the question. Oh yeah, here comes an email then. Yes, if it's not the telephone, right, we are all used to this. So here we go. I need to cut out 2 more of these. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm going to cut out 2 more of the peekaboo dies, and one is because I want to ghost it behind another one, and this is going to be the triple flip. It's going to be the back of my tutorial. Leave some space when you cut this out, like I did there, because you're going to need the border of it, right? You're going to have to cut a border and then plant that on the piece you're going to make yourself. That's 5.5 by 7. And you're going to put it on the back portion, and I'll show you that. Yes, I'm slowly getting over the fact I'm not using bees. Wow, I tell you what, yeah. And yeah, ladybugs. Then I throw a little kitten in there. Why not, right? I had to take a break. Yes, I went and got some tacos and some cheese dip, and I sat here just filling my face and laughing at the fact I thought I was dealing with bees and not ladybugs. I'm going to let that go though. Yes, let's move on to the card. I have to jump in and defend myself here. When you're doing, oh, I'm using my Xyron to run this through. When you're doing an edit voiceover, sometimes your mind is so ahead of the game because you have to think a little bit ahead as you're watching yourself create. And sorry, I just hit my mic there. And then you're trying to make sure that you're always just a little step ahead. And when I realized that I took all that time so I could have a fun transition in this tutorial, and I picked out bees instead of ladybugs, oh my. And I can't go back now, right? Because I am talking, I'm doing the voiceover, and I've said it 1,000 times. So if I take them out and I go back, although I did take out a lot of them, I had them all inside here. I had all funny, these bees were doing all kinds of things. Well, I made them take a great big vacation. I only kept the ones at the beginning. Oh, yes. Okay, so, yeah. let's move on. This is the mustard color. I'm going to leave all the colors of the LDRS Creative Hybrid inks. And yeah, that was pretty quick. How is anybody going to see that, Carol, if you're going this fast? So I went over it, and then I took the La La Lavender, I've got that memorized, and I put it on there. I don't want it to be stark mustard color. And you know, it's just like when you're working with your, I'm going to put Versamark on here. I'm going to add the LDRS Creative mark on here. It's like Versamark ink, clear ink, so I can put powder on it. Then I'm going to put the embossing powder, the clear powder, on it. And it's, I was telling you, it's like Copics. When you want to shade a color, go for your purples. Don't go for your grays, because purple will, lavender, it will all work wonderfully as a shade tool with any medium, whether you're using Copics or crayons or whatever you're using. It is a wonderful shade color. Yeah, look at me here. Let's just forget it. Just swipe it on. I didn't care at this point. Now, I did care about my tutorial. Yes, I did. But I didn't care whether you know, you can always clean up your mess with a baby wipe, right? And then I had to figure out, look up at the camera, Carol, and realize that all of your lights are showing. So that's the negative to my glass mat. This glass mat's nice to use if you're not doing a tutorial, but you have to be reminded to put something down. So anywho, I thought while I had this LDRS Creative watermark, I'm going to do the same thing to the the inside. This is a triple flip. So I have to remember this is the inside of the first flip. I'm going to have you so confused. I apologize. I mean, this is my design team project. I'm supposed to know what I'm doing here, aren't I? And yeah, that wasn't, I had acetate down. Don't do this, because acetate sticks. Look at that. See what I mean? This is the acetate piece I was using as the second double flip. So that's all right. I just took a baby wipe and wiped it down. You know, it's these things that make your tutorials. You wonder why they're oh so long, right? It's because I have to clean up all of my mistakes. Anywho, yeah. Ah, I loved your comments. I was reading my comments from my last tutorial. I'm so blessed. I have the greatest subscribers and viewers everywhere. Even if you don't subscribe to my channel and you just watch it occasionally, I'm thankful. You know, it just, it's like I said, it's like my subscribers. There we go. Another email. I apologize. It's like, you know, they say, I feel like, my friends say, I feel like I'm right in your craft room. Well, I said it to one person. I only have 2 chairs in my craft room space, but everybody's on lawn chairs. My room's big enough I could hold a few people. Look at that. I did the flip there. And there's the flip. There's the reverse of colors. You have the mustard behind the lavender, and you have the tissue paper, the scallops, the flip, the flap. You've got it all in this card, folks. I am truly in love with it. So what I had to do here, I wanted to have another piece with the tissue on it. And you're saying, Carol, what's this for? I don't know yet. I'm not that far. Yeah, there's a few issues that kind of clouded my head. Oh, yes, I do remember. I wanted this to make another scallop, I think. So I'm just putting it down as a sheet to put on the side, and whatever it is I was thinking about, I can't remember right now as I'm doing the edit. But we'll get there, right? Yeah, I don't make like I know everything. I really don't, because I don't. I make so many errors when I'm creating that I really look forward to them. I do. Because then I have to outthink myself, you know? I have to go back and think of something better because I made that mistake. And then it always comes up, you know, roses when you have to do that. I just love it. Look at that. Oh, it reminds me, yes, even when I was creating this, I thought of this. It reminds me of trees. If you had a background and then you added black or gray tissue, wouldn't that look like a beautiful tree background? Oh, I've got to make a card with that. I love it. And now I have to make this gusset in here so that I can add the flap to something or other. I know it's a flap because it's approximately 2¼ inches, excuse me, 1.5 inches. And then, yeah, I'm going to put that somewhere. I probably had to cover something up because it seems when I do a triple flip card, I've done triple flip cards, yes. I put it on the top so that I could cover up the bending back and forth, back and forth. It cracked my paper, which cracked the tissue. So I ran it through my 1-inch Xyron here, and yeah, come on, I think it fits through there, yes. Whew. Oh, you know, and there's that Yupo paper with all the beautiful colors in there. I have a card, and it's a clean and simple card, believe it or not, that I have sitting off to the side here. I'm going to create and show you how to do this technique that is so quick and easy. You can make a set of cards using it. So yeah, and here I thought, okay, you can't fit 2, Carol, but I'm going to grab 2 of these because by now, after doing all of this, I am getting a tad tired, and I'm thinking, run it through the Xyron. Forget the glue, forget the double-sided tape. Let's just use that wonderful Xyron machine, and that's what I did. And we're not even halfway, my friends. Can you believe it? Yeah, you might have to go and get yourself a meal. Yeah, yeah. And if you notice here, let me just share this. It's crooked. But I caught it in time to straighten it out. Yes. I don't know if maybe sometimes I sit and I create with my eyes crossed. I don't know. It's sometimes I look at it and I think, Carol, there it is. Doesn't that look beauteous? To the left, it's just down a little bit. I have a little bit more to the left than I do to the right. Cleaning out some of the tissue paper down there. And yeah, if I wanted to appear that everything works well with me when I edit, I would take all this stuff out. But that's not the way life is it? You know, if we could edit a lot of things and take things out, yes, our lives would be sweeter. And there you can have you see the proportions of the bottom flip to the top flip. That's what I wanted you to see. I love embossing this dye, this peekaboo dye. Oh, I'm telling you. And there was a reason for that, and I will share that later on. But here I'm looking at it saying, okay, I need to set this piece of acetate in there. And then I didn't want it to just flap around in there, you know, flip-flop around. So that's where my ladybugs came into play. I'm not even going to say bees. Ladybugs. That's when my little ladybugs came into play. I was going to double up on them, one in the front, one in the back of the acetate, and secure it with my flat magnets. I'm going to leave a link for these magnets because they are the best card making magnets on the market. And if you're looking for magnets, don't get them at the dollar store or get them someplace, you know, because they're inexpensive. You need to get these. They're paper thin, and they could actually magnetize so much. Yes. Hello, are there bees out there, or are there ladybugs? I don't know. What am I supposed to be looking for? I'm losing my mind right before your eyes, right? Yeah, so here's where I have to decide how I'm going to put that acetate so it's my double portion of my flip card. And that's what I did. I put double-sided tape on the scallop, and then I'm going to secure the acetate and then cut it off. Yes, I'll mark it with a pair of scissors. I'm pretty sure. See, I'm thinking ahead here. I mark it with a pair of scissors. Then I go and yeah, look at that. And then I trim it. And this is the portion of the card I absolutely loved. You do not have to put a flip on the back of this. But you know me, yes, I have to take it right to the extreme, right? I have to use as many elements to LDRS creative stamps and dies as I possibly can, because when I received this box of supplies, Angie Hunt was so gracious and so giving. She gave me so many supplies to use for my design team projects that I feel I need to incorporate as many of them as I can, even if it's in one card. And wait till you see the boxed envelope. I didn't put it in here because it would have been too long, but I'm working on creating that. I think you're going to love it. So I took my Nuvo glitter pen. This glitter pen dries dry, okay? There's no waiting time. It's crazy. I honestly want to get all of these colors because it's spectacular. It's one of those ones you push it and push it, then all of the glitter comes down into the point and then you apply it. So that color, if you're wondering, it's right here. It's called Blush. Oh no, that's not. That's a different one. It's Glitter Marker and it's Strawberry Bonbon, of course. Now I've covered the back of this strip with double-sided tape, lots of it. And that's one thing I do. Well, our Walmart has 1 inch and 1/4 inch double-sided tape for $1. You know, I bought it for so long. I'll try to, I don't even think there's a link for Walmart to buy this. If you're in the crafts section, look for it. They do have it. In my Walmart, I've seen it in another Walmart close to me. So yeah, it's a really good buy. You get a lot of that tape on there. So here is the inside portion of the flip card. I'm sorry, the back piece that's going to flip. It'll all come together, I promise you. As you're watching it, it'll all come together. So here we go. This is going to be, of course, a shaker. And I'm going to use my little ladybugs inside the shaker, as well as using some of my beads, my seed beads. I bought the whole set of Martha Stewart seed beads of every color at Michael's one time. I used my coupon. I have never regretted it. I went to the dollar store, I got a box. I keep them upside down. You'll see it later on. And when I was looking for something, I saw my box of seed beads and I thought, yes, I'm going to use it because it had the right purple, the right yellow, and the right blue to match my Yupo paper there on the upper section that you're looking at the screen there. So I got that out. And I wanted it to be a shaker for the little ladybugs. How cute, I thought, is that? And you don't have to have it really high because you don't want these ladybugs to flip. I only wanted to see the one side of them, of course, and I didn't want to chance the fact that they were going to flip over, so I think I did it too high. So I doubled up on the double-sided Scotch roll. So here you have it. I'm working on the acetate for the shaker. This has nothing to do with the card. It is the actual shaker. I put double-sided tape on the back of our peekaboo die cut here. I'll go over it with my long scissors and make it nice. And here is where I have I put the white card, I ghost the white card stock on the back so that when I raised it up, you could see that effect. See it there? It's so pretty. Yes, I think I actually end up putting it in this so you can see the difference between having it with and without the cardstock behind it. Now we're going to move forward and we're going to make the shaker, and I'm going to set it aside, excuse me, I'm going to set it aside for a minute while I do my ladybugs. I think I stamped out about 25 of them with the LDRS Creative Hybrid ink, the little mini one that's called Raven. And you can use it with, it's friendly for Copics, watercolors, all of it. It's beautiful. I used my stamp press the right way up. If you watched my last tutorial, yeah, that was the hoot, wasn't it? And so here we go. I'm going to start stamping. I'm not going to put you through the boring. I tried to do it in the La La Lavender, but I really liked the black, the Raven color. on this, and then you just color it with whatever. I didn't have any reds like red and purple, no, but I looked it up, ladybugs, and they come in this beautiful mustard color, and it came in this beautiful kind of orange color, and I thought that would all go together with the colors I chose for the card. So I want to just make sure if I'm stamping, I did some on the back, so you know you don't want to stamp and cut through that. So I made another piece here. I'm just taking the guts out, and then we're going to create the inside of the card. This section is to ghost the shaker. That's all I'm using it for. And yeah, it's these little details, I think, that make a card just stand out from buying one at the dollar store, you know. And I'm okay with buying cards at the dollar store. Yes, if you need a quick card, I mean, that's a good place. They have beautiful cards there, actually. You get it if you're in a dollar store. It's nice to get inspiration too. Just thought of that. Just go over to the cards and check it out. Yeah, I'm cleaning up my magnet plate here. Then I'm going to set it down, and I'm going to run it through because, yeah, I'm showing you how I cracked my acrylic plate there. I'm still using it though. I use things right up to the end until I can't use it anymore. So yeah, and then it'll clip right in if you have to redo it. That's what's nice also. So once I get all that settled, watch the difference when you slide that white over. I'm just cutting it with scissors. That's all it takes. And then you get that white ghosting underneath. Look at that. It just adds that little something to your creations, to what you're creating. And make sure you hold it here. It doesn't slide. You don't want it to be even. You want it to be off-centered. So that's what I did. And now look at that. I have two dies, one for my chunky little ladybug and one for my skinny little ladybug. And I'm going to cut all of those out. Yes. I was probably, oh, you know what I was having here when I was doing this? A nice Ovaltine. Ovaltine with milk. It's the Canadian hot chocolate Ovaltine. I get the malt flavor. It's so packed with vitamins. If you're ever looking for it, it's delicious. Nice hot. I don't drink it cold. Have yourself a hot Ovaltine. Now, once I have all of this back on there, I'm going to start to coat with color. It's a Y08. But really, you just need a couple of shades of the yellow, kind of in the mustardy, you know, light and a mustard color. And then a couple of colors of light and dark orange. Go over it. Then I grabbed a mauve, purple color, and I used that as my dark. So you have a light, a medium, and a mid-tone, and a dark, which is the purple. And I added that to all of these little bees because I need to incorporate them as magnets, one in the front, one in the back. And we are on our way to finalizing this card for LDRS Creative Design Team project. So here you have them all colored. I tried to do halfy. This was really late at night. So there you have the double-sided tape I put on my, it's my really thin piece of red paper. I got a lot of it at a thrift store once. It's like typing paper, and I use it for this type of thing. So run your double-sided tape across, your tape runner, excuse me, and it'll hold down whatever images you want to either color. You could do this for coloring, but I wanted to press down my LDRS Creative watermark, which is like a Versamark. It's the clear ink that you're going to use to emboss. I have all of them down here, and yeah, we're on our way. Actually, this is the second page. I have quite a few of them. So I just take this and I pounce over them. Then I'm going to use some clear embossing powder on it. And I'm going to use, believe it or not, I am going to make all the little enamel accent dots on my ladybugs, and so that they pop up to have dimension. I mean, if you're going to make a card like this, you might as well go all the way, right? Like just, yeah. And as you can see, I have used up all of my LDRS Creative embossing powder. This is the clear. I have no more. It is, can you imagine? in a month, I have used a whole container. That's how much I love this. And I figured, you know what? I don't have, look at, I mean, I'm just struggling here to get some into my container. And then I thought, no, Carol, just heat set it. Go grab your heat tool and heat set it. So that's what I'm doing. Doesn't it look wonderful? And the reason for this is, let me just tell you this, the embossing powder heated makes the shine on it, so it's slick. And it goes on top of the acetate, which is slick. So you have slick, slick, and it is going to be able to shake all over the place, right? And yeah, it's wonderful. It's not going to get stuck. You could even do the backs of them if you really don't want them to stick, but I didn't think it was going to be an issue for me. You know, I had enough issues that this issue didn't bother me. Oh, there comes another email. I apologize as I'm doing the edit. Now I'm going over, and yes, I have to do 2 pages of these with my enamel accents. And look what happened here. This, I don't know if I show it, another mistake. The embossing powder was too hot when I melted it. So see what I have to do? Just slide it off. I could have taken a baby wipe and just went over it because of the embossing powder being so slick. Look at me. Yeah, there. See? Yeah, cleaned it right up with a baby wipe. Oh, I was starting to panic there. And yeah, so I waited till it cooled off. I cut that mess off so it didn't psychologically damage me. As I'm looking at that mess, trying to make a card with no mess, then you're looking at that black mess. Yes, I had to cut it off. Oh, yeah. Whew. This was all day, my friends. This edit voiceover took me a full day. Yes. But you're worth it. I love it. I love what I do. I love creating. And I love the fact that I am using LDRS Creative stamps and dies. Please check it out. You're going to be amazed at the high quality of LDRS Creative. I'm showing you what these dots look like compared to having no dots with the black enamel. And yeah, I go through and I do all of them. So I'm just going to complete all these little dots all over their bodies, and we're going to move forward to the next portion. I managed to take another 20 minutes off the edit while I was going over this. I thought, now we're down to about an hour. Look at the close-up. Aren't they gorgeous? And they just clip right off. So here, this is the portion where I add the extra scallops just to clean up the cardstock. I think the color combination on this card is exceptional, especially adding those little ladybugs and the Yupo paper with the same colors in there as the... Have you ever seen anybody get so many emails while they're editing in your life? I apologize. I can't stop it here. I suppose I could. Sorry. But anyway, this is the beautiful blooming bug set. It has this wild flower. I cut it out of the Yupo paper. I put gold. This is the gold that I'm adding to my card. You know I have to add an element of gold in my card creation somewhere, even if it's a little gold speck. Just a little bit of gold. It always adds something, doesn't it? So I cut out of the die a white piece for the background because we're going with that ghosting effect on some of the images. I do add the white. I really like the clean white look of these scallops. They have a stitching around them. And yeah, right there I'm situating my flat magnets and getting them ready to hide, because remember I said I want this flip, this acetate flip, to be magnetized onto the burgundy and mustard colored dye there. So I take this, I'm honing in. You want to put one on the front and one on the back. So they're going to stick. The backside one will be proportioned on the inside of the acetate, and then the front will be on the front. And then I just add Scotch tape to hold the magnets down. You still will get the same you know, magnet power as you will if you didn't put the tape on it. So it's kind of fabulous. And then I put the stem on there so that it all matches. And now I'm going on the inside with the liquid glue. And make sure you add it close to the magnet so it doesn't seep out, because it's hard to get off of that acetate. You end up making these smudges you don't want to make. I added my fingers there, and now I'll situate the magnet, hold it down with a baby wipe for just a second, and there you have the one section of the magnet. And this is, we still haven't added something to magnetize it to the bottom cardstock, right? So this is where our ladybugs come in handy. So I have the front and the back. I have the beautiful image glue, liquid glued to the inside of both the white cardstock and the other. And now I have to figure out how I'm going to get the back side magnetized. And of course, it's going to be a bug. Yes, our ladybug, not our bee, our ladybug. Oh, I took a break and got over that. And you can see how I put the scallops on there. And now I'm going to pick it up and we're going to move forward to magnetize it to the bottom of the cardstock. So here's my positive magnet. It's going to have to go down. I'm just trying to figure out where it's going to be hidden the best. So I'll put the negative side down facing up. Then I'll put some tape and I'll add my bug. And this is the section where the must be a positive on the other side of the white cardstock. So it's hitting the negative behind the ladybug. Now I want a few more ladybugs just for the pressure of the magnet to hit. So I will put a ladybug on top with the magnet behind it. I'll lift it up and then I'll put the magnet down on the bottom portion, put a ladybug over top of the magnet. Then both of them will meet and magnetize. That's the beauty of adding these flat magnets. So I'm going to put them down. I'm just going to add a glue dot actually. The glue dots work perfectly if it's a little image. You know, if you have room to put the Scotch tape over top, it's a bonus. There's the tiny magnets. You get the positive and the negatives. And sometimes you have to use an extra negative if you're adding it to a third layer. So that's what I am doing here. I think the bugs are an added bonus for adding magnets. And I'm not sure if I keep all of the ones. I don't. On the bottom there, on top of the Yupo paper. I take those off. I had some hearts. There we have it. I have a magnet on the back of that. And the beauty of this is they're so small, and if you take two of them, even though you didn't reverse your stamping, it doesn't matter on small images like this. You can turn it over and no one's the wiser when you put it back to the front with these. Just keep this, you know, the same image on the front and back, and it's pretty cool. You can go ahead and do that. So off we go. Let's add some hearts and we're going to proceed. Now I'm just going to situate all my little ladybugs. That is going to go down with the magnet behind it. Then I'm going to add a double one and put it on the inside. So you're going to have a magnet on the back piece because you don't want to see white. You know, I had enough in the flower. I made sure that, well, I actually didn't stamp the meadow flower for the back. I left it white. But on these bugs, I did the front and the back bug on the acetate, and then I just put the magnet on the back of the inside ladybug and laid it down onto the cardstock. And it magnetized perfectly. You can see there, I add it to where I want it on the bug, then I put it down and make sure that it's even. I had this flag of Yupo paper to cover up, you know, just the element on the back of the white flower, on that wildflower. I thought it'd be nice to put a sentiment there. I actually had some thickers and I put the word fly, and then I thought, they're not flies. I already had a bee problem. Let's not go with flies. And then I thought, okay, what about soar? And then I thought, no, ladybugs don't soar. Eagles soar. And then I had these butterflies, and I took those off. It was just really too much for the eye to view all of this. You've got the Yupo paper with the alcohol ink image. You have the bugs inside and out, the cute little ladybugs. Now I'm taking off the acetate here that I have to put. This is the piece that I ghost on the back. Then we're going to situate that with, this is the shaker, right? This is what's going to look up on the shaker. So I wanted to have the acetate so it would shake. So I put that on with double-sided tape around the outside border. And then we're going to put the leftover ladybugs in there. I'm going to add my Scotch roll so I can put the other acetate piece over top. There you have it. I just cut it out, one on top of the other. If I had a thought of it here, the quick and easy thing to do is to just fold the Scotch tape in half and then cut it. You know, that's so much quicker than doing it singly because, you know, you never get the same cut on the top and the bottom. But I didn't think of it, you know. I just didn't think of it when I was doing this. So the quick way is to fold your Scotch tape in half and then cut it to the width you need. And that would have been, you know, just saved a few minutes of time. So now we need to ghost this. We already cut it so that it had the ghost effect. Don't forget that when you're putting it on. Just slide it over. Here I'm adding the second layer. Yes. And I just think it is a cute card because it has two open elements. And you can put the sentiment on the Yupo tag, you know. You can put the sentiment on the inside of the flower, whatever you want. Here's my seed beads. This is how I store them in this dollar store case. And I store it upside down so I can see the colors. And I'm matching the seed beads to the Yupo paper with the alcohol ink up there because this is going to be on the back. And yeah, so I went with the mustard yellow, the lavender, and the blue, the light blue. And I slowed down the next section for you to see the images inside there, the little ladybugs. Look at them. Aren't they cute? I really do think they're as cute as a bug in a rug. And talk about bugs. Yes, we're not going back to our bees. I'm looking at them saying, Carol, how could you have thought they were, look at them. There we go. And the seed beads. It matches the outside portion. And now I have the white cardstock on the inside of this, like the back side. So it's going to flip down and then it's going to reverse itself and flip up. So we have all of our magnets situated. See how it goes? Boink. It just goes right on there with the bugs. And how I'm going to close that here, I was trying to think of some ideas, but I didn't want to cover the heart. So I went with just a piece of string like that beautiful twine I had in my stash. I'm just cleaning out the inside of any of the glue just to make sure it doesn't, you know, show through. Then I'm going to make the back side here to put on the back of the card, like the actual, when you turn it over, back side of the card. And I love this little die. It's called Dotted Wings. And I use that. But for now, I have to, I take the LDRS masking paper and I cut a piece to the perfect size of my peekaboo frame right there. Then I'm going to set it down on the back side, the inside portion of the back flip. I set it down and then take it away, and now I have a mask that is going to cover this section. So when you see through the acetate of the shaker, you're going to see white cardstock. I didn't want the outside edges to show through. I didn't want to do the entire card. So I took the same colors with the hybrid LDRS Creative Inks. I ran around the whole edge with the three colors, the blue, the mustard yellow, and the lavender. And I have to say, working with hybrid inks, they are so crazy creamy, and they allow you the time. Here I'm just folding over my red typing paper so that I can go over the top portion without getting anything on that white on the top. So I'm just holding it, and I'm going to just pounce it here, there, and everywhere. Then I'm taking the blue, but as you can see here, my applicator had distress ink on it. Yeah, so that's why you can see the distress ink right on my hybrid ink, but I ran it across a piece of white cardstock and it all came off of my ink pad. So there was no problem there. There's the colors there. So fast you can't see it, but I went back, I put my mask back on. It wasn't dark enough. It made the front, it didn't match. It was too bright. So all I did was take the lavender and I went over it really hard, like with a firm pressure, and put it over top, and I really loved this look so much better. It was like these colors, wait till I remove the mask. The colors were identical to that Yupo paper. And when I take the mask off like I did there, I added some liquid glue to the already double-sided tape. I set that down, and because I masked it off perfectly, it's going to match right there. Yeah, I had a little bit of time before I flattened it out. And now I have the triple flip that's going to go on here. Now, when I applied this, I did have double-sided tape. You can see me taking it off, but I plugged in my glue gun and I added the glue gun for extra assurance right there. I don't like to think that my card will fall apart in any way when the recipient gets a card, right? When I'm sending it out. So what I did is I went back, I took it off. I even had double-sided tape. Then I add the liquid glue, and then for the third time, I added hot glue. You know, hot glue is, it's the saving power to a card that has a lot of texture, a lot of thickness. I added my acrylic plate, but it didn't matter. I did take it off and add the hot glue. I thought it really did need the security for me. And yeah, and then I'm going to move on to this cutesy wootsy dotted wings die. This is a die, if you like butterflies, that is so nice to have in your stash. I'm going to leave the link to that because you're going to be amazed at the price. I love these dies. They're Teflon coated. I can't say enough about them. Love the colors. You know, you have the pink, you have the beautiful blue and turquoise color. It's gorgeous, and that's what it cuts out. The bow lifts up, so you have the 3-dimension, and the butterflies wings lift up. It's such a cute little element. You can see where I put the word, let me see, here I put love, and I didn't like it. It was in the black. I didn't like it at all. It just was not, it didn't complement the card at all. Took it off, put those away. Then I took out the white glitter one and I put the word fly, and that just didn't go either. That didn't fly with me, so to speak, right? Yeah, it didn't fly with me, so I took that off. And here I'm just trying to think, do I need to add any more? And the answer was no. I had this Stampin' Up! Little round flower. See how I had fly there? Does not look, oh, it does not add to the creation of this card at all. Yeah. Oh man, what's she doing? Yeah, they're peeking through. Carol, are you going to change that? Come on, she'll change it. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Let's see. So I had this LDRS Creative round circle out of the circle dies, and I put that on. This is the complete back. Okay, then I took my this little dotted wings die. I had my stamp here that I got done, and it says created especially for you by Carol Held, because obviously I'm going to give this away. And I put the same color lavender and the mustard yellow on these. I'm going to take it off and add the clear embossing powder. I ran out of the LDRS Creative, remember, so I just grabbed another clear, made sure nothing was going to show, and heat set it, and it was perfect. Yes, I like to put the clear embossing powder over top of my sentiments. It just so it doesn't smear. And then I had the hot glue gun, so I just put it behind the butterfly and the bow butterflies in the bottom, and that was the back of my card. So now I'm doing a little close-up. As you can see, I had a glue dot on the back of that, but I raised it up. I had a glue dot there, but you know, I had the hot glue gun plugged in, so I thought I'm going to, yeah, I love the way it seats on there. You flip it down, you can put your sentiment there. I left it open because I don't know what I'm going to put in there, who I'm going to send it to for a birthday or a get well or a how are you or a friendship. I'm not too sure. So yeah, let's chase a butterfly around. I did use butterflies, right? This is okay to put in there. No bees, just butterflies. So here we go. There's the little round wildflower, so to speak, porcelain flower. I wanted this. I picked it up and I put a butterfly under there just for some stability with the hot glue. I cut off some of my twine to put in the middle portion of the scallop on top. And then I tied it around the butterfly and that beautiful mustard colored wildflower on the bottom. And it worked very nicely. Tie it in a bow. You don't see the twine over top of that stem of the underneath part of the wildflower that folds down. So thank you very much if you're still with me on this super long tutorial. I enjoyed it, even though I did put some bees on there. That's okay. That's what we do. Look at that. You can add a sentiment to the inside there, to the flip side, wherever you want it. Thank you so much for subscribing to my channel, for your comments, and thank you to LDRS Creative for giving me the privilege of creating and being on their design team. I'm going to leave you with my motorcycle picture because I went out on my motorcycle after I was done this. So I included it. Take care. Have a blessed week.